Well, well, well. What an interesting game this is going to be to talk about. I didn't think when I started this channel I'd be getting into politics and, racism and all of these issues. I'm not sure what I'm going to title this video. Maybe like something like Vinicius was wrong, or Vinicius is always a victim, or something. Just to get the attention, just to get the all the clicks and the views, just to clickbait people in. But this is the problem with the world now. Everything is so politicized. Everything is so. I'm in Chile at the moment. I'm traveling. Look, this is my wallet. Look, it's a British flag. It's a British flag. I got this out the other day when I was playing football with some of my friends here from the UK, and they were like, "Oh, your wallet is such a UKIP or such a Reform wallet," and it's like, it's a flag. It's nothing to do with a political party, but that is the unfortunately the way things go. And I think that is part of the problem, is we lack the nuance now. Everything's one side or the other. There's such a lack of nuance to conversations. But I will try and bring it to this video, because the biggest problem I've got tonight is not the incident with Vinicius. That is, a kid. He said something offensive. We don't know what he said at the time of this video. It probably was racist, because you don't cover your mouth to say something nice and sweet to someone, right? So I do believe Vinicius. But he's young. He said, I don't believe in council culture and people not being able to learn from their mistakes. And I hope he's not completely vilified. It'd be interesting to see if he comes out and apologises or what happens. The biggest problem I've got was the fans, the Benfica fans, because after this, they were throwing stuff at the players. Valverde complained that he saw someone in the crowd making monkey gestures, and that's the bigger issue that we've got here. And why do these people feel like that? Because I think it's very lazy as well to just label Benfica fans are horrible, they're all racist, just like the problem happened in Spain with Valencia. That's not getting to the root of this issue. There's a lot of black players on the pitch. Why is it only Vinicius that is involved in this situation? Does that say something as well, that there are lots of other black players on the pitch and it doesn't happen to them? These issues are so complex to talk about, and I don't like when you don't hear from other people's point of views, and the media just make their own opinion up. Everyone's on the same pitch, on the same side. So, for example, I was just listening to TNT Sports, and it was Wayne Rooney, Clarence Seedorf, and Theo Walcott. I didn't hear any sort of discussion or difference of opinion. It's all just nonsense PR bullshit. It really doesn't mean anything. So, yeah. Let me get into why I think Vinicius. I don't know if he's handling things as well as he could be, but let's get into the video. So I'm not going to do the usual type of video where I talk about the first half and then the second half, and talk about. I'm just going to go straight into the incident that happened in the second half, where the Benfica player, I forget his name, but it's irrelevant, went like this and said something which Vinicius said was racist under his jersey, and the game was stopped. But the problem I've got is I don't know if how Vinicius is handling it is going to help the situation, because you've got a situation where there are racist people in the world, and unfortunately, that exists. Just like there are rapists, just like there are homophobics, these people exist, and you cannot, in my opinion, you cannot force social change on people. I don't understand when I see signs of at football stadiums saying, anti-racism, or when you walk around London, you see pictures saying, like, don't rape, basically. It's like, what racist is looking at that sign and going, you know what? I was going to be racist today, but I've seen a sign and I'm going to change my mind. These things have got to happen organically. And I'm very aware that for Vinicius, it must be. This is not a one-time thing. This has happened again and again and again. And I am very aware he's human. He's got emotions. And at some point, you just think, why do I have to keep putting up with this? So I'm not even saying Vinicius is wrong to behave how he behaved, because I don't really know what the solution is. Because the problem I've got with this is, okay, in an ideal world, we're going to try and get rid of racism, right? I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to get rid of racism. So we're going to ban racist words. So first of all, we do need a list of the words that are racist. But I definitely, monkey, I think you could, which is, I think what Vinicius was saying the guy said to him, would be deemed an offensive word. So if we're just going to stop at racist words, I can get on board with that. And you say, okay, no more racist words on a football pitch. But the problem is, once you start banning words, you don't have free speech anymore. And then people can use that. So you can say, right, I heard a homophobic word on the pitch. I don't want to play. I'm reporting that. Are we going to get offended? Are we going to start accepting sexist words on a pitch? It's an all-male game. Are we going to get offended on behalf of women? I'm ginger. get a lot of ginger shit when you're, when you're younger. Could I complain if someone offended me? This is the problem with what I've got with this. I'm not necessarily morally against what Vinicius done, but just from a practical point of view, I don't know where this goes once you start getting upset by what people say on a football pitch. It's a word. Actions and words are two very different things. If Vinicius was living in a country where he wasn't allowed to use a bathroom because he was black, I think that would be something very worth bringing up and fighting for. When it comes to people's words and people's opinions, you can't make people like each other. Vinicius today, I definitely defend him because often he's quite an antagonising player and he annoys people. But today he did nothing wrong. He scored a great goal, a beautiful goal, and celebrated, which he's allowed to do, and then all this crap happened. So from Vinicius's point of view, he's thinking, I've done nothing wrong and I'm still getting offensive things said to me, racist abuse. It's very, so I don't know what he can do on the other side of it. I want to attack this from a rational point of view. I don't just want to be like the mainstream media that just thinks, this is ridiculous, we can't tolerate this, and offer no solutions. But so I'm trying to approach this with a rational, I think it's a rational point of view. But I just don't know what he can do if he doesn't walk off the pitch, because he shouldn't have to deal with it. If anyone can offer a solution in the comments, I would very much be curious to see what you would say, because I don't know where this goes. I mean, maybe this is the best way to go. We be very militant. We really come strong on racism, and we be as hard as we can, and we don't accept anything. But do you think this is helping? Do you think the societies that we live in are becoming more tolerant or more separated and more hate? I don't think, this issue has been going on for a long, long time, and it doesn't seem to be getting better. And if anything, it seems to be getting worse. So I don't know what the solution is. I'd be very curious to hear anyone's opinion on this matter. But one thing is for sure, Vinny needs to keep doing what he's doing, because today his goal was absolutely fantastic, and he has to celebrate. He needs to keep celebrating. I hope he doesn't stop celebrating, because it pisses people off, and I do like that. I really don't like his antics when he rolls around on the floor and he's complaining to the referee, and he needs to cut that stuff out of his game. But today, he won the game for us, so well played, Vinny. It's a very difficult problem to solve, social issues, and I know my few-minute video on YouTube is not going to do anything, but I wish there was more conversation about the nuance of these topics, because when you watch the mainstream media and their reactions to things, they all think the same. They're all on the same line. There's no one thinking of another opinion or coming at this with a different angle. So, I mean, I kind of want to talk about the game, but there isn't too much. I had a few notes written down in the first half. I was actually going to do a bit of a video, but I can't really. Don't really have the interest now. I should say that we are in huge trouble if teams don't get tired when pressing us. The first 20 minutes, we couldn't keep the ball. Benfica were the better team, and against a team that's going to be more clinical and a better team, we're in such trouble. We really are. We're such a dysfunctional team when it comes to keeping the ball. Luckily, teams don't usually keep up that level of pressing, and once they slow down, we grew into the game a little bit more. And certainly after the racist issue happened, the whole game changed. The crowd was flat. The Benfica players looked flat. Valverde was playing like a man on a mission. He wanted to fight everyone. I think he probably could have been sent off, to be fair, because I'm pretty sure I saw him punch one of the players. But I love Valverde's passion, and we played with a real anger in that second half, which I like. But it's very difficult to manifest that, naturally. Obviously, that was a reaction to what happened. But Mbappe was terrible this game. I don't know. He was rested on the weekend. I think he's had a little bit of an injury, so I don't know if he was fully fit to play that full game. But I thought Mbappe was really off of it. Carreras though. By the way, I just shout out Carreras, one of the best signings we've had in recent seasons. I think he's a fantastic left back. I'm going to leave it there then. I mean, let me know what you think if anyone's going to watch this video. I really appreciate leaving any comments. I'll always respond to the comments, and I suppose see you on the next game, where I'm sure there won't be any more racist issues happening. Take care, everyone.